Give me a tone. I need a tone. In nomine Patre et Filii Spiritus Sancti et Leibowitz. That's my Catholic intro to the show.
In honor of the new Pope.
Very good.
Yes, we're reading this in honor of the new Pope.
Yes, of course.
This is a very popish book. He does make several appearances. Not the new one.
No, unfortunately.
Not
Bobby.
An even newer one.
Yeah, true.
Hello.
That's true.
Hello, Hardcover Hooligans. We are back. And we have a special surprise. We have a guest. Hello, guest.
What? Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself and
My name is...
say who you
Yes.
are?
Yeah. My name is Sarah. I like books. And I like this book. And unlike Mac and Danilo, I've read this book before, but not that long ago, just recently. And so I'm excited to talk about it.
You can talk about it.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
And now what book are we talking about? I'm sure if you've clicked on this episode, you've seen, but...
We are talking about A Canticle for Leibowitz,
Woo!
the classic novel of a future dark age.
Whoa.
If you have this special edition that we have. And maybe it says that on all the editions.
Yeah, I don't know. We have the 60th anniversary edition. I don't know when that...
Mine...
1959, I think. So it's a little... Not exact, but it's close.
My slug line hilariously says, author of St. Leibowitz and the Wild Horsewoman, his second and arguably worst novel.
That's very good.
As if that
That's
would
great.
make you buy the better one and most famous one.
It doesn't necessarily seem to me an idea that you could make into the Leibowitz verse, if you know what I mean.
It seems...
Well, very
I mean,
good.
we're
It
not
seems
gonna-
sort
we're
of
not
like, you know.
Like, why?
This is the... Yeah, why?
I feel like I think everything gets put out there on the page.
Yeah, I think so. So
Now,
this
it is crazy to talk about the sequel right out of the book, but...
But this is A Canticle for Leibowitz, published in 1959, published by Walter Michael Miller Jr. from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, baby.
Is it really New Smyrna? Is that
Born
really
in
what it's
Florida,
called?
died in Florida. You're goddamn right.
Like a goddamn American. Oh,
Like
I don't
a
think we
hero.
said this. Sarah, who are you?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
who
yeah.
are
We
you
didn't
to
just
us?
pull. We didn't just pull someone off the street and say, "Hey, what books do you like?"
Craigslist looking for well-read woman.
I am the associate of Danilo, and
Oh, okay.
What an insane.
That's the
insane thing to
first
say.
thing on your CV is you're an associate of
You
me.
are associate.
That's a if I'm the one you're least connected to on this podcast.
No, I'm married to Mac. Mac is my husband. I'm his wife. And
Yes,
Danilo
my
is our
wife.
associate / friend.
Yeah, I'm part of this marriage. I'm just associated. I'm an associate.
Well, you were a witness.
I was there.
That's true. You were
Not like
there.
You were
legally.
there.
a witness.
You were there.
I wasn't.
But you were a witness.
I wasn't like a legal witness, but like I
But you
witnessed.
can't prove it happened.
But you were witness to.
To a beautiful union between people who not only love each other but love
love
books.
Danilo.
Yes.
Who are associated with
I
me.
was going to say books, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Love Danilo. Yes.
We love Danilo, and then we love books.
Yes. Of course.
That's really what brought you two together, which is crazy because I didn't know.
Yeah, it's
one of you
weird.
Before.
Pretty unique.
So what do you guys know about A Canticle for Leibowitz? What is a canticle?
I looked this up. I'm a nerd who subscribes to the Oxford English Dictionary online, and I pay money for an
Sure.
Oxford Dictionary. And so I looked up what a canticle is. Let me. Shall I?
Oh, please, the official definition.
Webster's
Let's
dictionary
not
defines.
mince words.
A song, a hymn.
I think that is apropos.
You didn't have that memorized. You had to go to your notes.
There's two different.
Oh, that's true.
Things, a song or
I
a
can
hymn.
only
is
remember
more
one
than
word
one.
at a time.
Come on.
So it's an ode, perhaps,
An
to
ode
Leibowitz.
to Leibowitz. Yes.
And
yes.
so,
go ahead.
Sarah, we're reading this book because of you. How did you come to read this book and find out about it? Because somehow
Oh.
I had never heard of this book at all, ever.
Yeah, good question. I actually had never really heard of it either. It was one that Mac bought a little while ago because he thought the cover was cool.
Years ago, I think. I thought the back was funny, which is why. I bought
Oh, yeah. And I'll read you the back in a second. But I saw it on our shelf, and I was like, this looks interesting. And I was like, I'll just read it. And then I did, and I really liked it. I think this is like a little literature sandwich.
Yeah.
If you like literary stuff, it's full of them. There's little bites. You can take a bite every page. Anyways, this is the back of the book. The atomic flame deluge was over. The earth was dead. All knowledge was gone. In a hellish, barren desert, a humble monk unearths a fragile link to a 20th century civilization. A handwritten document from the blessed St. Leibowitz that reads, "Pound pastrami, canned kraut, 6 bagels. Bring home for Emma." Could this holiest of relics hold the key to humanity's salvation?
Pretty good.
Pretty funny.
A pretty funny back of the book that, while I suppose is true, is not really what
it plays almost no real role in the story. I think it's a funny thing to get you to buy the book because as evocative as the title is, once you've read it, it is a horrible title for trying to sell a book and tell you what it's about.
Yes, it is. It is a great title, though. So
and it is. I was gonna say it is super. I was struck by how literary it felt for being from like ripped literally from the magazine pages of like 50s pulp sci-fi.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I think you can tell sometimes that, you know, it is pulpy sci-fi, but it's pulpy sci-fi with a heart. As a guy who has read dime store sci-fi novels he has forgotten, this does read like that, but with a pretty severe Christian bent in a interesting way, not in like a Catholic conservative kind of way. The opposite, maybe.
And famously, it's what's called a fix-up novel, which I just learned. It was like 3 separate short stories, and then he brought them together and did some like seems like heavy rewrites to make it work together as a more cohesive piece, like adding characters, creating links between the sections. There are 3 sections, which I did not know, and when the first section ended and 400 years passed, I was shooketh.
Yeah. So today
like, what,
we're
my
talking
friends?
We're talking about part 1 of Canticle for Leibowitz. This is quite a dense work here, so I think it's best to do it bit by bit. In honor of the new Pope, we should do our due diligence to talk about all of the Catholic imagery and monsters with crossbows.
You know, I'm pretty sure the Pope is called Pope Leo in this book, too.
He is. He is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's Pope Leo the
is.
21st. Right? Because isn't
Wow.
an X is 10, right?
An X is 10, yeah.
So,
Yep.
21. Pope Leo the 21.
Is there anything else you want to say about Walter M. Miller Jr.? I feel like I did a little bit of research that seems a little relevant.
He won a Hugo for a different thing.
No, it was this. I thought it was this.
No, it's for the story The Darf Stellar.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. Maybe we'll talk about it. I think that's. Oh no, he won 2. He won his first Hugo was Darf Stellar, which is a great name, and then this was the 1961 Hugo Award-winning novel, which is pretty cool. He stopped publishing books after this. He was like, all right, baby. I'm done.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. I don't know how seriously you want to dive into his history, but he was part of this bombing of an Italian monastery, and it was very traumatic, and he did not support that decision. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to do that. And I think you can see how that experience maybe inspired some of this book and his opinions about humanity and religion and science. But science will come later. The first part is mostly about religion.
Is all about religion, I would say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, according to the Wikipedia page, he was a radio man and tail gunner in a bomber, and he was part of a battle in Italy where they had to bomb the oldest monastery that existed at that point, and that fucked him up and made him write a good book about a monastery.
Yeah, certainly. At least this first story about, the first part about a very old, fucked up monastery in a deserted, post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Should we dive into it?
Yeah, let's do it. The first part of this book, Fiat Homo, which means the light of...
No, and it was and that let there be man.
Let there be man.
Yep.
Let there be man. Let there be man. So we are introduced first in chapter 1 to Brother Francis, who is a member of the novitiate for the Holy Order of Saint Leibowitz, which is like the Beatus Leibowitz, the pre
not a saint yet.
Sainthood.
He's not a saint yet.
not a saint yet, pre-sainthood, and he is on his Lenten vigil. Now, Sarah, have you ever been on a Lenten vigil?
Not like that.
No.
No.
Not as dry.
Nope, not as dry, not as hungry. You know, I was thinking about that lizard, and I was like, if I was a lizard and I survived my species survives the flame deluge, and like we make it, and then I just get eaten by this guy, Brother Francis, in the desert.
Who's not even supposed to be eating you.
I would be so
This
mad.
teenager, he's 17.
I know he's 17.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man's age. Can you
Oh my
imagine Peter
God.
Parker out there on the wasteland?
Francis Spider-Man.
Francis Spider-Man.
How would he swing anywhere? There's no trees. Famously, no trees.
Not Brother Spider-Man. Francis Spider-Man.
Well, I think...
Yeah, go ahead. No.
I think we should definitely start with chapter 1 because there's a lot.
Yeah.
No, it might sound crazy.
Yeah.
It might sound crazy, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of like foundational things that happen. So it starts and he's out there in the desert, and then he looks off into the distance and sees this what he describes as a black iota traveling towards him.
Is that then? He says he's
That's like the first thing that happens.
yeah, well, I know, but I just thought the black iota is how he describes the pilgrim at the end of this part.
I thought it was at the beginning too.
I think it's at the end of this
I
part.
think it's both. I think it sandwiches both of them in the
Oh, is it really?
bookend. Yeah.
But he has I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Speck
find
at the
the
beginning
exact...
and a speck at the end. And in the
He
middle,
has,
he's a guy.
Ooh, the iota materialize. Okay, maybe it's just an iota. Maybe it's not a black iota.
But he is described as the pilgrim with girded loins.
And do you guys know what it means to gird up your loins?
Let's Google
I can
it.
tell you. I can tell you. I have
I
it
think
written
I
down.
know, but I want to see it.
To gird up
Oh, yeah.
loins means to remove hindrances that might make us trip up, so that in order to escape the bondage of sin, so we can walk with God. So the pilgrim,
He's in his undies.
yes, he's in his underwear, but his underwear is perhaps symbolic of removing any sort of internal or external blockages, so that you can walk with God.
But perhaps
I have here a graphic from the artofmanliness.com about how to gird up your loins. And it's a guy in a tunic, and he
so he's already doing
pulls
a bad
it
job
up.
if he's wearing a tunic.
He takes the dress part and makes it shorts. And that's what
That's
it
pretty
looks like.
sweet.
Yeah.
But
Classic.
it is just undies. I think he's shirtless. And he's got no shoe, or he does have his sandals. He's wearing sandals, and he has a walking stick. And him and Brother Francis have a weird interaction out there in the desert, where Brother Francis lusts hungrily and obviously at the pilgrim's food. And then the pilgrim offers him his food, and then he drops his food, and the pilgrim tries to kill him with his stick.
Because there's a lot of suspicion, because we don't really know what's happening, but we know something happened called a flame deluge. It's a post-apocalyptic sort of thing, and people are wandering the desert and could be dangerous and could kill you.
Certainly. There are, presumably highwaymen and robbers. He's a man of the cloth, so he is unarmed. I think he has a little knife, but it's for like a cactus fruit he's allowed to eat on Sundays or something.
Well, is he a man of the cloth?
Who? I'm talking about Brother Francis.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the pilgrim.
No,
Yeah. The pilgrim is he's very like classically described as the image of him, right, with the sandals and the staff and the girded loins or whatever. Very biblical, very like this is, you could imagine a disciple in this place, you could imagine Jesus in this description. And especially with the staff. One could think of many biblical figures. How about that?
Moses.
Moses,
Yes.
the burning bush.
He even kills a snake with his staff. Not a different desert creature, not a salamander, not a
snake.
cicada.
The
He
evil
kills
snake.
A snake with his staff.
Evil snake under a cool rock.
Yes.
Now, now what is a Lenten vigil? What is Brother Francis doing?
Sure. So, there's the period of Lent, which happens before Easter.
Now, wait, hang on. Before we get into this, I just want to say Sarah here is an ultra right-wing conservative Catholic Christian Nazi that we've brought on.
Yeah, we should go around and talk about our relationship with Catholicism. Mac?
We should. Zero.
Zero, great.
Zero.
Sarah?
Yes.
I was raised Catholic. You could call me a cradle Catholic. That's what they say. So I'm very familiar with, like...
You've been to a church or two.
I've been to a church or two. I've given things up on Lent. I know what happens on Good Friday and the rest of the weekend. I'm familiar.
Nice.
Didn't know.
I went Catholic K through 8, so
Nice.
I'm also cradle Catholic.
So a lot of this stuff...
I was into all the stuff. This is very...
Right.
I'm no longer really practicing, but this, like, it feels very familiar.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of this stuff feels not alien, but certainly like not just one time was I left wondering, now did he come up with this, or is this a real
Like what?
Or is
Which
this
part were
like
you
a future version of the thing? 'Cause
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot
Right.
of like what has stayed with this Catholicism, which it is sort of interesting that a post-apocalypse happened and everything died off except for Roman Catholicism.
Yes.
I don't think it really investigates why that happened.
No,
it's
I
just
don't
like that's
think
the
so.
premise, and I think
Yeah,
that he was Catholic, he liked being Catholic, and so we're gonna talk about that. Imagine if these were Lutherans. Oh,
he'd have 99-pound pastrami he could pound to the door of the abbey. I guess it's mostly stuff with I'm not intimately familiar. I mean, the book doesn't drop you in and without up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I understand that there's like an application for sainthood, and I went to school. I know that that's real, but I don't know necessarily how questioning. I learned in real time reading this what a devil's advocate actually is, which I thought was really, really cool. I did not know that, so I learned that. And I didn't know, I don't know if a Lenten vigil was a real thing in like Dark Ages Rome, which is what or Dark Ages Christianity, which is what this is, replicating a complete and total loss of knowledge in Christianity, going through that, alongside, the rest of society, albeit we see very little of the rest of society. But I don't know if they really went on 40-day vigils. I've heard of the fasting. I think that is real for apostolic monks. Would that be because they're apostles of the faith?
It sort of seems like the idea is that like this, we had our normal Catholicism, and then when everything got bombed into the Stone Age, like that sort of medieval Catholicism sort of came back, and so hey, there's a desert. Jesus was in 40 days in the desert. That's what Lent is. Why don't we make our teenagers go do that as their like initiation? Okay. So I think that's what that is basically.
And I don't know, maybe we don't know this because none of us here are Christian scholars, but if this is how it worked, like a member of the novitiate, a novice, had to go through some sort of great trial to then be granted not even priesthood, right? Because he's already a brother.
To be a monk.
A monk.
Like a brother.
A monk.
Yeah.
So in order to become a monk, and then there's this caste above the monk, which is what like that dude who comes by and gives him his who like he confesses to in the desert, and he gets really annoyed with him and is like, seriously, like, okay, did you mean to eat the lizard, or was it just a crisis of faith? And then the guy above that is the arch diocese, the abbot Arcos, which is the coolest like sci-fi name.
Yeah, what a guy. What a guy.
Yeah.
It's like a cyberpunk character, Abbot Arcos.
The Abbot Arcos.
And I don't really know all the hierarchy in like monasteries. I know it's the abbot's in charge, and then it's like, I think how old you are.
And it's abbot,
like
one
experience.
abbot per monastery.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's about. It sounds about right.
And also in the world of this, we don't really get a sense. Maybe it happens later. We don't get a sense in this section. Are there like the amount of abbeys there are, or like how far
is this
spread
normal?
they are? Right? Is it normal
like
for
how
like
it was
these
even
guys
built?
to be? Right, and I don't know. I think they mention a real saint. They're like Saint Thomas. They say that later, but I don't know if there's like Saint Gretchen. Like Saint Leibowitz is objectively a hilarious name. For
there's other abbeys. They talk about like other abbey. Like they send the relics, which we'll get to. They send them to a different abbey to be verified because that's like the reason Abbot Arkos is like, oh no, I can't do it. It's because he's like doesn't want to hurt the case. Whatever, we'll get there, but. So there's other places because they're evaluating these relics, but it's all very spread out and it's very, like, disconnected. Like, it takes that guy, 3 months to get to New Rome?
Except he has to walk through the desert.
Right, so it's all very
There's two-headed
scattered.
people with crossbows.
Yeah.
And there'll be, like, the lack of knowledge about how big the world is and where all the people are. You feel what the characters feel because everything is so scattered and disorganized that, like, you have as much information as the people at the Abbey have, you know?
Yeah, like, they don't get any news because the only news can come from, like, across the desert and no one almost no one travels and they have no idea how big the world is. Very much like, even, like, pre-Middle Ages, like, where are they? Like, you don't even get you get a sense that they're somewhere in, like, New Mexico, because they talk about, like, Denver. Like, there's monks in Denver.
And he's from Utah.
Like, what?
And there's one man from Minnesota. He's described as the ugliest human being on planet Earth, but he's funny, so who cares?
Sometimes and he's from Minnesota.
If this wasn't obvious, the flame deluge is the nuclear apocalypse. And I think it seems like the Midwest got hit pretty hard, so all the people from Minnesota are, like, deformed, which is kind
funny. They're mistborn, which is not mistborn.
I saw that.
Almost mistborn, but
saw that. No,
it's mistborn because they were misborn.
Right. Very good. Very good.
Yes. Fair.
Man, could you imagine if Brother Francis could, like, steel push?
He kind of has in this book. It's his habit. It's pretty sweet. Could be cool. Could be pretty cool. So anyway, what else happens in this chapter?
The Wanderer. So they're sort of suspicious of each other. And the Wanderer is like, hey, I got a rock for your shelter. And Francis is scared. And then the Wanderer's like, okay, I'll leave it here. And he goes away. Ostensibly to go walk to the Abbey. Francis goes and sees where the stone was and sees 2 Hebrew letters written on the stone.
He doesn't know they're Hebrew at the time.
Right. He's like, that's weird. He moves the rock, and there's a space behind the rock. And he looks into it, and it's like, oh, it's a little cave. And he starts digging it out, and it becomes bigger and bigger. And he goes inside, and there's a bit of a collapse. And do you want to describe what he finds in this cave?
Yeah, he falls in, and he finds a sign on the wall that says Fallout Shelter. And he's like, oh, I've heard of these monsters, these fallouts.
A fallout demon.
Right, a fallout demon destroyed the world. Like they're like ancient battle destroyed the world. And it says like maximum capacity 15, and he's like, holy shit, there's 15
fallouts in there. Shit.
But importantly, what he finds is a desk that he can't open and some sort of toolbox. And inside that toolbox is a letter about a person frantically trying to get somebody named M to this fallout shelter, and also this note: the pound pastrami, can kraut, bring home for Emma. And we don't know this. Also at the time, there's a skull with a gold tooth that he keeps like looking at and freaking out about, and he like picks up the head and turns it around. We learn later that the presumed Emily Leibowitz had a golden tooth, and so what?
Or is it just speculation?
Right, we don't know.
Right. But they in the book, in the novel,
they establish or they assume and they decide that it's her.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying he is aware of the legend of the gold tooth, and so he's like, "Oh my god, I think I know what I've stumbled upon."
Was the legend?
That's already established in the book.
I thought that it started.
Yeah, 'cause he was like, Emily Leibowitz had a gold tooth. That's like the one thing we know about her for some reason.
It's one of the legends that they tell is that Emily Leibowitz has the gold tooth.
I believe you.
And he thinks, he's like, oh my god, He also has his signature. I.E. Leibowitz is like all over these blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, holy shit, it's Saint Leibowitz.
It's the guy.
Yeah, we can prove that he's a saint. And so he takes all the stuff and he talks to the priest who comes every Sunday to like bring him corn and stuff. And he's like, check out all this cool shit I found. And he's like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. But anyway, you should go back to the Abbey and we're going to seal this off and for religious inquiries only.
Well, you're at the time, you're like, this guy kind of a jerk. This guy, he's kind of rude. He's like beating up Francis a little bit. And
the abbot is like really pissed off that Francis found this stuff.
Yeah, and he like prevents Francis from moving forward. He keeps him as a novice because he's mad. But later, maybe some of his motives are revealed.
Yeah, so is that real? Was it really like... Well, we're dancing around it. The reason that the abbot and the priests don't want Brother Francis to find more evidence is because too much evidence might point to him just being some guy, right? Am I right about that?
I think they're afraid the abbot is really aware of like the politics of making someone a saint. And like I think there's a history of when someone's in a candidate for sainthood, all this new evidence magically comes up and it's immediately suspicious. Like its providence is immediately suspicious. And so because they're in the middle of this process, Abbot Arcos doesn't want to be like, oh, we found all this crazy stuff. And
right,
then
in
so
a hole.
all the right,
just a random
conveniently
hole.
in a hole in the ground, miraculously. And so I don't think they don't want that to like be a mark against his candidate for sainthood, which I think is sort of a real
that
thing,
makes sense.
at least sort of emulates the politics of like medieval like monasteries and stuff.
Yeah.
I know, Sarah, we've talked about this in our personal life, but you read The Name of the Rose, right?
Mm-hmm.
By Umberto Eco, and that book, this felt a lot like that book, like monastery life and like...
You know what's funny? I was actually thinking about that, and I was like, wow, I like all this monastery life stuff. Maybe I should read...
You're going to love Name of the Rose.
Yes. And it's ultimately like a smart decision, right? Because he's like... He understands that it's a delicate balance and that he has to play it just right in order to get the thing that he wants, such as like just waiting. He's like, we're just going to wait. We're going to block it off until I know what to do or until we know what to do, until I notify the right people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll send the artifacts away. People can like, what's the word?
Research them?
No, confirm them. Confirm or deny them.
Oh, yeah.
And
so you might be asking the question, dear listener, why do we care about any of this?
Right. Yes.
And I think maybe we get
cue.
a bit in the background of this world. As I think the interesting part of this part is learning about the background of this world, because you're sort of thrown into you're like monks, caves, and then you're like fallout shelter, and you're like, okay, we sort of know what happened. There was some sort of nuclear apocalypse, but they call it the flame deluge, which sort
Epic
of
name.
Evokes like the deluge that Noah survived, that God sent to like cleanse the world.
And also this book came out, Cold War is hot.
Right.
So it's just, I think you can imagine this takes place in a world in which the United States and Russia decided to unload their nuclear arsenal. Mm-hmm. Because a cool thing about this post-apocalypse is that the nuclear destruction did not destroy everything. Like, that wasn't really the nail in the coffin. The nail in the coffin was what followed immediately after. And I don't know if maybe I'm just not as well read as sometimes I think I am. I'm not sure I've ever read something like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
do you want to talk about the simplification?
Yeah. Yeah. Go. No, please.
No. Okay. Sure. So right, like they said, the world, there's this nuclear apocalypse, and many people seem to survive, and then the survivors become very angry and upset, and they come to detest everything related to anybody who was ever involved with creating the flame deluge, with creating these nuclear weapons. So all knowledge becomes a bad thing. So they seek out and they like kill remaining scientists or like technicians, electricians, basically anybody who is educated and literate is sought out and killed in something called the Great Simplification. And they call themselves...
they call themselves.
Yes, well, they're like, oh, what are you, a bunch of simpletons? You don't like knowledge?
Like,
and they're
hell
like,
yeah.
We are. We're called the simpletons because
And it became
you
like
guys,
a purity
with all
test.
of your
I'm
knowledge...
a simpleton. Are you a simpleton?
Right.
Yeah. With all of your knowledge, you killed the world, so what good was your knowledge?
And they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong.
These guys should be wearing "I'm with stupid" T-shirts. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
And there's like many of the survivors are Francis refers to like these monsters or these demons or these mistborn, and you're led to believe that these are the people who like because they're dealing with radiation, they're born with deformities or they're missing parts of their body, or maybe there's extra parts of their body. Mm-hmm. So
classic 60s pulpy mutated monster kind of guys.
Yes.
And I think it's really cool how like from like the flame deluge and then the simplification, like erasing all this information from the world is like it creates this low information world the way like it used to be back in the olden days. And so the book and the point of view in the book is sort of from that perspective where the only lens is like religion. So like they don't know that this is like radiation. They like call them radiation poison. They like call them demons or like mistborn or like they don't know what electricity is. So they see these blueprints that they find for Leibowitz. They don't know what they are. And they're like, oh, we've heard that shamans take old pieces of electrical wiring and wear them around their necks because it used to be, it's like the body of a god. And so like this sort of shamanistic,
it's really cool,
superstitious culture has sort of taken humanity again. And all this knowledge has been lost. But what Leibowitz did is he became what's called a booklegger. So he was a I think we learned later he was an electrical engineer, and he's like, okay, deleting all the knowledge, all of human knowledge is bad. So him and a certain selected group of people started like stealing books and hoarding knowledge until the world was ready for it. And that's sort of what this monastery is a repository for all this information. I want to read a little section because I think it's really cool the way it's written, talking about like nuclear apocalypse, and he takes like the phrasing from the Bible, so it's all this like biblical religious phrasing. I think it's really cool. It was said that God, in order to test mankind, which had become swelled with pride as in the time of Noah, had commanded the wise men of that age, among them the blessed Leibowitz, to devise great engines of war such as had never before been upon the earth, weapons of such might that they contained the very fires of hell, and that God had suffered these magi to place the weapons in the hands of princes, and say to each prince, only because the enemy have such a thing have we devised this for thee, in order that they may know that thou hast it also, and fear to strike. See to it, my lord, that thou fearest them as much as they shall now fear thee, that none may unleash this dread thing which we have wrought. Which like they're like writing new Bible thing, and like it's absent of all like the specific information, which I think is really cool, but it, like captures the spirit of it in a way that like alienates it from like what we know. Like it's not like President Biden has the nuclear codes. It's like the magi have given machines of war to the princes. You know, I think that's really cool.
It's very, very cool. So years past, he has to do 7 Lenten vigils.
Yeah, because Abbot Arkos is mad at him.
Yeah, Abbot Arkos. We didn't say this.
Brother.
The biggest part, like that's standing in the way of the possible canonization of the Beatus Leibowitz, is that word has spread that the pilgrim was Isaac Edward Leibowitz. Like, rumor has spread. He signed the Hebrew letters. He signed are like
they were
it's LB, and like they have this conversation, and it's like in between those there's usually an extra syllable. Can you guess what it is? And he's like lube, let, leave, and he's like leave. Oh my God, it was him. And it's like, well, okay, let's pump the brakes here. But if the guy who discovered all this is walking around proclaiming that Leibowitz himself was there. That's a pretty good argument for the advocatus diaboli, the devil's advocate, to be like, well, this is all made up. This is all horse cocky, so he will not be a saint. But Brother Francis is like, I think he was just an old man. But he's like an idiot. He's very nice. I love Brother Francis.
He also keeps fainting. It's very funny. He comes across the bomb shelter. He faints. And the abbot is like, hey, you can become a brother now. He faints.
Sometimes
later on, he's sent to New Rome. He faints.
The moment when he says you can become a brother now, it doesn't even say he faints. It is like the abbot bestowed brotherhood on priesthood or whatever on Brother Francis. He helped him up, and then they went into the next room. So you're just like, he helped him up. It is assumed he fainted, which is very, very good.
So yeah, there's a big time jump, and Brother Francis becomes a monk, a brother,
officially.
And he is a copyist, so he copies all the memorabilia. Oh, we didn't really talk about the memorabilia. We sort of did, but do one of you want to explain?
It's what you said to know. The memorabilia is all the stuff that like Leibowitz had been preserving, and then what the monastery does, the what's the actual word?
Abbey?
Yeah, the abbey. They replicate it. So when something gets like old and withered, they have copyists who will literally just make a replica of it. They'll look at it and they'll recreate the lines and the letters, even if they don't understand them, which they never ever do. But they just recreate it in order to preserve it because they're like, well, maybe someday somebody will figure it out.
Like, Leibowitz's big thing is, like, it's just a blueprint that says, like, transistor socket B. And it's like, and they're like, what could that mean? And it's like, who cares?
Well, and hilariously, they don't get that the blueprint was printed on blue paper with white lines.
Yes,
so they, like,
it was originally...
They use so much ink to try to, like, make the whole paper blue.
And it's implied that he writes the letters first and then tries to paint blue between them, which is hilarious, instead of just painting it blue and then writing the letters and the lines.
It took me 15 years to remake this, and you're like, yeah, no shit, you did it like a maniac.
Well, it takes him longer, too, because he wants to make it look really nice. Because he is like, oh my gosh, this guy is so, like, precious and holy to me, and I want my replica to honor him. And so
he has a fun side project, and that's what this is.
It is very fun.
Yes, and their side projects take years.
If I may venture forth this Leibowitz stuff, we as the reader, we're like, oh, that's so funny. Like, he was just a guy who died in this nuclear holocaust, and it's funny to imagine that just like some guy is being like canonized as a saint. Now, if I may get on my high horse, isn't that just what the Bible is already doing? No, but seriously, like, you read this and you're like, this is all bullshit. But then, we have this big book and all of these people, and it's like, is this? I mean,
this is what I think that's part of what this book's trying to say. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, it's people doing things with the information they have in the situation they are in, and then it gets like filtered through this like biblical worldview and becomes legend or rumor. That is how knowledge happens. Like, they don't know what they're preserving, they just preserve it by rote, and eventually it becomes useful.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, Mac, and we can talk about this question later after we describe like the rest of the book, or we can talk about it now if you want.
Let's just talk about it now. We're here.
But like a big question that is called to mind when reading this first part, and it will stay relevant for the next two parts, is like, what is the role of religion in this post-apocalyptic world? What service does it provide, if anything? Like, why is it important and why is it here? Because, yes, obviously, like, Walter M. Miller, his religion was important to him, or, like, his touch point. But also, in world, like, why was it the only thing that survived? And why does what they're doing matter, or does it not matter at all?
Well, it's funny, I think Walter M. Miller's argument is that it doesn't matter at all, especially considering how this section ends. But it's very hard to think. They spend all this time in the Abbey, and he spends all these years recreating this blueprint, and he's so confused about the blueprint, and then he finally reads this ancient book and the memorabilia, and it's like, oh my god, we've been doing the blueprints all wrong, and it's like, there's like raiders raping and pillaging like 3 miles from here. Like, none of this affects anything at all until like society could possibly reach a point where enough people could find solace and then try to be better by utilizing this new form of religion being created here. Like, the work being done now might be useful, but the world presented is like, it's just gonna get destroyed again. Well, Brother Francis gets robbed, and it's like, dude, this is the worth of your work in the world. It's 2 gold. He says something.
Gold inlays.
No. 2 gold. Amount of gold.
Or heclos or something.
Heclos, whatever it is.
Whatever the money is.
Whatever that awesome robber character.
2
My
gold
favorite
coins.
character in the chapter.
Well, I think we'll talk about, like, I'm very interested. Like, it does bring up an interesting conversation about, like, the preservation of knowledge and the utility of that. Like, especially later in the later sections when humanity sort of rediscovers all these things, like, how useful was it to the future of knowledge to have, I have the little name of the document, transistorized control system for unit 6B, because they don't know what, like, they don't know what electricity is.
No.
Like, they have a theory that, like, the ancients used ghost air to, like, power these things, but they just, like, we're gonna copy it down,
Right.
And they talk about electrons, but they, like, don't know what they are, and he's like, I've never seen an electron, or, like, I don't know if they really existed.
Yeah, no shit, buddy, they're tiny!
I don't know if they existed.
I only believe in things I see with my own eyes.
There's...
I mean, that is what they believe, though.
Uh-huh.
They're like, I believe in the sand and the sky, and, the thing that I don't believe in is, or like that I can't visualize, takes up all of the rest of my occupying thought, and it's this.
Well, and, like, with a similar touch point with the Name of the Rose that we were talking about before, like, that monastery is also this, like, preservation of knowledge, and ultimately the knowledge that holds, like, ushers in a new world where their type of religion is irrelevant. And that's sort of what happens here, where, like, they preserve the technology that makes, or the knowledge that will rebuild civilization to the point where they're no longer essential in that same way, which
right.
is interesting, like, because I think if you think, like, historically and in this world, like, religion does play a key role in, maybe not like religion, but like religion as, I don't want to say enforcement, but like as an organizing principle around which people can work together to achieve a goal in the absence of, like, government, like stable government or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But, like, once those things arise, that need isn't really served by religion anymore, or, like, religion doesn't serve that need anymore. So it's interesting. And I think that's something of what the later sections get into more. But right now it's all about copying circuit designs.
Well, it's tough. The only other group of people we see working together get shit done way faster, and those are 2 hilarious goofball robbers and their wrestler leader. And they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna take your shit. Like, we're not gonna kill you. Like, we're chill guys, but, like, I am gonna take this gold piece of paper, and, like, I don't really give a fuck.
But I mean, is that getting shit done? Like, they do it, but it's ultimately, like,
but like in the now, like, if the idea,
right.
I think the argument being presented is that both are necessary. You need people to be doing things now or else not necessarily robbing and stopping the production of thought and the preservation of knowledge, but you need people acting in the now, not just people holed up in the Abbey, like,
preserving something for a future,
again.
for they don't know why, like, preserving for the sake of
right.
preservation. I think that the second section is a lot more about that, I think.
So he eventually gets word, Brother Francis gets word that the canonization is going to go through, and he is being invited to go to New Rome, which we don't know where that is, correct?
No, we just know that it's been moved, and it takes him 3 months to get there, and seemingly it's been moved to North America because he walks there.
Yeah. Well, they say Rome was in the same place for I think they say Rome was in the same place for almost 4,000 years. In the past 12 years, it has moved 4 different times. It's like wow, that sucks. But whatever.
Which, fun fact, the papacy was actually moved to Avignon in France during the Middle Ages and then moved back to Rome. So, maybe Rome was moved, but the papacy had moved before. So.
Well, je m'appelle le Pope.
Fact check.
So Brother Francis faints again upon learning this information, and he gets his beautiful blueprint recreation. The original relic needed to be there for proof of final canonization. Is that right? Or just maybe it doesn't?
I think it's like a gift, like a final gift.
And he gets his bowl and his bindle stiff.
Well, he gets his bowl because he wants to trick anybody that he might come across on the sand into thinking that he is poor.
He puts on a eye patch over his right eye because there's superstitious people in this world. It's funny because it's like Brother Francis is like, see, I'm smart. There's superstitious people in this world, and they'll see the eye patch and get scared. And the first person he runs into is like, nobody falls for that trick anymore.
But they did. But that suggests that they did used to.
Yes,
they used to think there was evil in his eye, and now they're like, nah, not anymore.
Francis is like 45 now. Like,
this is a
lot
long
of time.
A long time.
Because it was 7 years of vigil, and then it takes him 15 or 16 years before they do the canonization anyway. Mm-hmm. And so he goes and he gets, a little ways into his journey, I guess, before he meets like literally a guy standing with his hands on his hips in the middle of like a dirt road.
The most buff guy ever.
The most buff, awesome guy ever. And he tries to do all this.
And his friend that goes, eat, eat,
his 2
eat,
friends.
Eat.
He's got 2 friends. 3 friends if you count the guy with 2 heads. And he's like, listen, buddy, like we do this all the time. Like, you fucking idiots come through here all the time. Because Brother Francis is alone. Sometimes they have guards, but they're like, you know what, Francis? Why is that?
Well, they just send him on his way. I guess they don't have anybody to spare. Yeah. But he has his donkey.
I don't think that it's not that important in the grand scheme of things.
It's very fun. It's very funny that they're like, here's this holy relic to these gifts for the canonization. Go by yourself with.
We know it's really dangerous out there, but I'm sure you'll be fine.
And so he gets accosted and held up, and this robber, he's not a murderer. He is not.
He's fair.
He's very fair, and it's just because Francis is so weak and scrawny and naive of the ways of the world that he gets ultra robbed, as I would like to say. Maybe a more charismatic person could have talked their way out of this, but the guy's like, you know what? You seem like a nice guy. I'll wrestle you for it, and if you lose the wrestling match, I get all your things. You keep your clothes and your horse, but I get the blueprints.
No, he gets the donkey too.
Oh, does he get the donkey?
Yep. He just gets to keep his clothes and his shoes.
He's like, I got the documents. And he's like, okay, I'll wrestle. And I think the book is literally like 3 seconds later.
He's got a big rock in his spine, and he's groaning on the ground.
And he gets the blueprints, and Francis is begging, and he's begging, and he's begging. And the guy, this is important, the robber's like, I can't believe that you want... that the relic is the gift, or the replication is the gift. This one's way better. And he's pointing at Francis's with the gold. Because he thinks that's the original, and the copy is the shitty one. And Francis is like, yeah, so just give me the shitty one, and I'll be on my way. And so he does. He's like, sure, and you bring me 2 gold coins, and I'll just give them back to you. You can buy them back for me, because they're my property now. Yep. So he's like, okay. And then he goes off
Francis
to
is very
Rome.
sad, because that fancy one took him like 20 years to make.
We should say it took him 20 years because he was only allowed to work for it at max 1 hour a day.
A week,
so
or
about
something
5
like
hours
that.
a week.
1 hour a week, right?
No, 5 hours a week,
okay.
about 1 hour a day. And so it takes him 15 years, I think. And in just 5 minutes or less, 15 years of his life is gone, taken from him.
Because they're not preparing for the realities of the actual world. they shouldn't be sending their scrawny ass monks out there with their important documents if they really want to get somewhere. And when he arrives in New Rome, he sees these sweet dudes in battle armor. We're like, well, we could use some of these around the Abbey. These guys.
Well, but it is described as a small private army, so you have to imagine there's not many of them, but it is an army nonetheless.
Yes,
The Pope's army.
The Pope's army, and it's interesting because the abbot, when he is first introduced, he's described as like warlike, or he's more like a warrior.
The only recognizable like memorabilia is like a tiny little cross he has over like his panther pelt and panther mask.
And then when Francis gets to New Rome, he like there's literal soldiers, and the Pope and everything else is also described as like warlike, or there's a warrior. I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find
And it's
it.
also, he also describes it as like really shabby. Like he's never been there because they've talked about like the splendor of New Rome or whatever. But it's like it's sort of like falling apart because like, I mean, it's the apocalypse.
Right.
Yeah, and it's funny because he doesn't really like when he's in the mass, because he goes there to deliver the relic and to
see
be there
the
for
mass
the canonization.
where Leibowitz is canonized.
Yeah. And, like, during the Mass, he's, like, in awe of the splendor and, like, the glory of everything. And then when he meets the Pope, he's like, oh, my gosh, this guy is so humble and kind. And which he is. The Pope is a really nice guy.
And he's got a wry... He delivers something, he's like... He delivers a wry smile. He's like, hey, this place is kind of a shithole, huh? And he's like, wow.
Yeah. And then it's only in, like, brief moments when Francis sees through and he, like, sees that there's a hole in the Pope's dress, or like that the carpet is tattered and the paint is peeling. And when he revisits the chapel or the cathedral, maybe what it is, I don't remember, the church whatever. Later, he's like, oh my gosh, this place is kind of crappy and bad. But he has like this, because he loves his religion so much and he loves these people so much, he is blinded by that, and he just sees it for what he feels. Like his feelings about it is what he projects onto the physical space.
And then Francis is like, so also Pope, I need 2 gold pieces because I was robbed and they took my main hobby. So I would love to get that back. And the Pope is like, well, you know, it's not wasted because, you know, you spent 15 years of your life and that resulted in the real relic getting to us and being preserved.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, this Pope.
Yeah, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, oh, you don't know anything? Neither do we.
Yeah.
Which is, it's nice to hear from, like, the head honcho of the church, right? Because you as the reader, you're like, what are they doing? What is the point of all this? This feels meaningless. This feels trivial. But, I mean, they're doing it because, one, what else do you do? And also, maybe it has value later. But then to hear it from the Pope where he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. This is just what we do. You're like, okay.
Yeah, it's like the especially with what immediately follows this section, it really, you know, makes this whole thing seem rather pointless. And I think that's intentional. Like, not the memorabilia part, but like all this pomp and circumstance of New Rome and this beautiful art, like this beautiful private army. They're like unbelievably well trained. Like a horsefly flies into a guy's visor, and like an archbishop like walks by and lifts up the visor and just like plucks the fly off his face. Like he doesn't even move. Like these guys mean serious business.
They're locked in.
But it really might mean all for naught if a bunch of squat barrel-chested gentlemen walk in and just want to wrestle everybody for their paintings. Like it's not. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose that battle 9 times out of 10, buddy.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was back. You know, way back. The difference is that the world was destroyed. Like, the Dark Ages is a period of time in our history where knowledge was being destroyed because of the Catholic Church or Christian Church. Let's, you know, not act like it was a random act of God that this happened. But there was at least like these people know that this world, this once thriving world, was destroyed. And so there's this sense of like hopeless wandering that I'm not sure was exactly present in the Dark Ages because that world had not been destroyed. But, you know, I say all this, it sort of did because Rome was the leading power in the West for so long, and that had just recently been destroyed, heralding in the Dark Ages anyway. So what the fuck do I know about anything? Maybe it's the most perfect metaphor of all time. But do we have anything else to say about New Rome before we move on to the end of this section here, or anything else we haven't talked about yet?
I think we should get to the end, and then we can talk about things on the whole, because I have some stuff.
Yeah, so Brother Francis leaves, and he gets his 2 gold from the Pope, and he walks up to where the bandit is, or he thinks the bandit is, and he sees a dark iota in the distance, much like the beginning of this chapter, and then he gets shot in the fucking head.
and he dies in the road.
Exhumed Brother Francis by one of those funny mutant gentlemen from earlier. He's like, meat,
with the
meat,
2 heads.
Meat. Yeah, with the 2 heads.
And then we see the return of the pilgrim, who was perhaps walking at Francis just before he got shot in the head.
Yep.
Who buries him and then in a very humble way.
And then the camera zooms out, the literary camera zooms out. We follow a group of buzzards and the generations of these buzzards' lives just eating. They see new polises pop up, new city-states pop up all around. And then the end of the chapter is like, before you knew it, it was 31-25 and war was a-brewing. And then it's like, what? So it just like doesn't, as far as this section is concerned, you're like, well then it didn't matter because it's all just going to happen again. So who cares?
I was so sad when Brother Francis
died.
I know. Like,
it
affected me.
Yeah,
he's a really good character.
You love him.
This book, the dialogue,
and it's so his death is so random.
It's so it's really awful. The dialogue in this book is so good. You really feel for Brother Francis. He's got like a mean coworker.
Yeah, who like bullies him. Brother Jairus. He's like the head. After the main head guy dies in the memorabilia room or whatever, the copyist room, Brother Jairus takes over and he's always bullying Francis. He's like, oh, well, what does that mean?
Well, and Francis
what
is so nice that the book is even like his sarcasm was dulled by Francis's like kindness. He was just like, that's a good question, Brother Jairus. And it's like, well, it's no fun to make fun of you if you're just gonna fucking
you're just gonna be
nice about it. So Brother Francis is like this most perfect guy ever, most devout. He is maybe one of the most accurate literary forms of anxiety I've ever seen in a book. Like, he's just like, well, I don't really know if that was a sin or not. And he's like, well, what did you do? And he's like, well, I kind of thought about eating cheese one time. And it's like, okay, what?
And the priest doing the confession is like, oh my God, just be done with it, please, for the love of Christ.
But then it proves, he's really devout. Like, he's really about this shit.
And he really cares about the truth. Like, he cares. He doesn't want to say, yes, the pilgrim is this, or yes, the pilgrim is that, if he doesn't know if that's true or not, because he's so devoted to his religion. He's like, I'm not going to commit to this without all the knowledge. Whereas Abbot Arcos and other characters are like, we don't fucking just say a definitive statement.
And it went like at the end of the section when he dies, it really left me with a question of like, okay, so like what was his life like for? Like what did he do? And you're like the text is very like, okay, he made this beautiful illuminated version of a blueprint he didn't understand that eventually got stolen and probably sold and destroyed and lost to time. But because of that, he was able to deliver this other blueprint to Rome. And that is sort of like the effect that his life had on the world almost.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see like how that is later in the book, like how that is like, was that a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Did he actually have any effect? Would this have all happened anyway? Like what was his life for?
And think about it, like I'm sure like some monk made some great pilgrimage to canonize somebody, and then 600 years later a nuclear apocalypse started, and so who gives a fuck? Like it's the same. It's just history. History. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but history repeats itself.
What? I haven't heard that before. Yeah, did you come up with that?
I just made it up.
Wow, that's very insightful.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's tragic. It is a tragic end, but it's a great ending line. If you're gonna write 3 short stories and then combine them, that's one hell of a way to combine parts 1 and 2. Well, I love that. Like
his death, because it's like unexpected, and then when you think about it, you're like, could it have ended any other way? But like his death and like what feels like meaninglessness of his life is really good because it speaks to the broader, like, emptiness of this world and, like, how primitive things are right now in terms of, like, just everything. Not just knowledge, but, like, society, culture. And at the same time, so you're like, oh my gosh, of course this would happen because everything is so lawless. And then at the same time, you're like, but is that such a bad thing? Have we really regressed? Because when we were this far ahead in, like, science and technology progressed all this much, what do we do but kill ourselves, right? We killed ourselves anyway. So if we're killing ourselves when we're primitive and we're, in quotation marks, killing ourselves when we're advanced, again in quotation marks, then what's the difference, right?
Yeah,
then
like, what are we doing?
What's different? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
And that's just section 1.
That's just
And that's
section
just,
one.
and in terms of, I want to come back to, like, the role that the church plays, because in a broader sense, yes, they're preserving this memorabilia, and you're like, but this takes so long, and, like, Francis, it gets stolen and it doesn't matter. So that's, like, one thing that they're doing. They also at one point mention how, like, the only real forms of communication come from New Rome, and, like, the only real or semblance of society that exists still is the church, and that's, like, what everything else gets built out upon. So
I mean, at least, like, that's what
preservation of communication.
That's what they say,
right?
But that is, like, if I was a member of the church and controlled all the news, that is also what I would say.
It's true.
Well, but I mean, what you get the sense of the rest is just like, I mean, it's not like the church is, like, keeping a highly democratized governmental system secret from these monks. Like, it's like the rest of the world is just like tribal warlords.
Yeah.
I mean, but maybe there's, like, this whole valley of people, like, we don't know, things might be chill there. They just might look a little strange, like the Valley of the Mistborn. Like,
yes,
we don't know if we don't go there in this section. We don't understand, like, their cultures or anything. We do see a person from a sort of tribal culture in New Rome being, like, given rights to do something. He's, like, wearing, like, a cool, like, cloak, and he's, like, walking around like the big, you remember this guy? He's, like, walking around
in
like
New
the big
Rome.
yeah.
Oh, he was a convert.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
he's from some
Right,
place.
and he became part of the church. Yeah.
So, like, we do get glimpses, but it's never, like, doing something that you'd think. They're not, like, going to these communities and preaching the word of the Lord.
No, and they're not
Right.
really doing anything to help them
No,
either.
which is what I'm saying is, like, the whole thing is, like, aside from this one abbey doing the history keeping, which I think is important, the whole thing seems pretty pointless if you're not actually going out into the world and helping people.
Yeah.
Because they are helping. They're like, here's 2 gold pieces, you can go get it back. And it's like, he's going to take the gold pieces and then shoot you in the head anyway.
Yeah, he
like,
doesn't
that's
need
not
to
a
save your
solution. It is a solution from, like, a person who has never experienced any hardship
Who
ever.
never has to leave New Rome once a day.
Which is
in their life.
which is exactly what the fucking
I know.
Bobby Provost in goddamn Rome right now.
Well,
Maybe not him. He was, watching White Sox games with his brother, but other folks.
Mac, this lends itself to the next, like, another thing that the church does. Because this is just before I was just saying, this is something that they do. Whether it's good or bad, remains to be seen. But the other thing that, like, the other way the church has infiltrated this society, or, like, this world, which I think is interesting, is, like, they have decreed that anything which is born to man must be brought to maturity by man. So, like, you're not allowed to kill your child after it's born, and if it's all fucked up and it has 2 heads or 2 legs, or I guess everybody has 2 legs, but 5 legs, or, like, if it's fucked up, you're not allowed to kill it after it's born. You have to bring it to maturity. And the other thing, like, all the misborn are called the Pope's children. They're like, oh, these are the Pope's children. Like, we value them. They have value because they're alive, and we care about them, and we want to take care of them, and, like, you can't just kill yourself or kill them, whatever.
Right.
However, what good are the titles? Because the Pope's children kill the Pope's servant.
Right.
The robbers, who are these misborn, who are the Pope's children, kill Francis, who is the Pope's servant, and, like, his dedicee. So, or is that a word? I don't even know.
What did you just try to say?
Disciples?
I don't just forget. We're gonna edit that. We'll edit that out.
No,
It'll be edited it. Cut. We're gonna edit
Yeah, well,
there.
and like what you're saying, like to Mac's point, like it's one thing to like say they're all good and everything's great, but like they're not doing anything to help them. They're just like staying insular and like, oh hey, like you're all good and holy, but like we're gonna leave you be out there and still be scared of you.
Good luck.
Yeah,
and
right.
we're not gonna do anything for you, but we love you.
Right.
Love, thoughts and prayers.
Which is literally, I mean,
no, right.
It's
exactly.
happening right now.
Which
And it's
when we
been
get
happening.
to part 3 and all the discussion there about the value of life and everything, so that'll be very interesting.
It's a very, Walter M. Miller Jr. is a guy with a lot of thoughts about a lot of different things. I think if you're gonna write a book, this is the perfect way to be critical of organized religion. I think there's a world in which this book is so preachy and annoying and bad. Like, the subtleties of this book, the fact that it like pitches you up front as like a sci-fi novel about the Dark Age, which is like a lie, right? Like,
No, it's not
like,
true.
We're not talking about a sci-fi novel. You're sci-fi. No spaceships. There's no lasers.
No.
There's a monk with a piece of paper.
Right. But
That's my
so
sci-fi
cool.
book.
Like, that's so
Give me a
cool.
break.
And, it's I wonder, I'm not sure how many times something like this has been done, like a piece of genre literature done with such this, like, it almost feels like at times you're reading an essay on like the follies of organized religion more than you are reading this first part, a short story about a monk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it, man. I'm getting baptized tomorrow, actually. So.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations.
This
Exciting.
book converted you?
Yeah.
You're gonna do a
Wow,
wow,
it
the
did?
desert.
I took the wrong. I want to get shot in the head by
Oh my
a
God,
crazy guy.
Yeah. So,
I want to do a nuclear bomb.
I want to do a
Danilo,
nuclear
did you
bomb.
have anything else to say on that? Because I have another question. If you guys feel satisfied.
I don't think so. I feel like I had another thought, but
If it comes back, you can always interrupt.
maybe it'll come back.
So my next question is about the Pilgrim, because I think that this is a very interesting character, and I won't say anything more about that. But why do we think that he, one, shows Francis where the fallout is? Why does he write the letters on the rock? And like, how does that vindicate the relics that are inside? Does it not matter? But like, he obviously points it out and he's like, hey, look here. So what does that mean? What is the significance of that?
And it's interesting because the fact that you're asking this in part 1 and we don't have a answer does mean that it does not get addressed and we don't get any answers later. Which is interesting. It was just interesting because we have to like this sort of figure out what that means now, or like what it means in the grand scheme of things.
If I may be so bold, I don't think it does matter. Like,
and why not?
I think
you can think that.
it's just I do think it is just a coincidence. I mean, when I say I do think, I mean I'm an interpretation of this. The one that jumps out to me is that it is just a coincidence that this guy, they seem like confused about the Hebrew letters anyway, the monks at the church. They keep saying, they keep drilling it into your head that nobody is really very good at pre-deluge English anyway. So like, even their like understanding of what a fallout shelter is like, while the abbot understands that it's like a place to be protected from the evil fire, he does not still lack the understanding of like a nuclear bomb was going to explode and you had to be deep underground. And I think it's like a guy who had maybe even like found this before, who like is familiar with the area, who's traveling all around and gets lucky on this rock. Maybe he pushed the rock over and saw the hole, recognized it as a fallout shelter, having found them before, and was like, hey, I'll fuck with this monk. I'm not saying that's what I think, but it's like...
Yeah, he's just a guy, and
he is a force of this world.
Because he comes back in later.
That, like... Well, don't no spoilers.
Okay.
No spoilers. But in this section, he presents as like this thing trying to help this guy, whether we don't know why, but the fact that he comes back is like at the end of this section, I think is not nothing. The narratorial voice doesn't say like the pilgrim knew that this guy was there. In fact, all it says is like he was looking for a place to cool off, found this forest, found a dead body, doesn't even recognize, or at least we don't know if he recognizes it as Francis, and buries him, which is a weird thing to do to like a stranger in this world that you just stumble upon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Danilo, what do you
sort of
think?
see it like, I mean, absent what we know about him from the other sections.
And I don't know. I should say this. I have not read the other sections.
Oh, you
I
haven't?
do not know. No, I've been because I've been planning on just doing part 1 and doing it in 3 parts anyway. So I've been.
Oh, well, that's interesting because I read the whole thing. So interesting.
Danilo
a little
reads
dramatic
ahead. He's
irony
a
going
good
on.
student.
I thought we were going to do this all at once, which in retrospect,
Well, I did
is
too,
crazy.
and then I talked to Sarah, and I read it, and I was like, okay, this is just
No, it's and like part 2 is some of the best shit I've ever read. It's so dense. There's so much to talk about. It deserves to have its hour. Part 3.
At least in
like
part 1, I mean, I guess we sort of. I mean, I can't. It's hard to form an opinion about The Wanderer from what I know from part 2. But in my opinion, it's sort of like his role in this section was sort of to like nudge Francis into finding this thing that ultimately led to this paper being delivered to New Rome intact. Like the sort of, like not on purpose, but like in a this is like the wheel of history.
Yeah, I mean the guy kills a
Sort of
fucking.
way.
The first thing we see him do is kill a snake. Like that's not
Right.
That's not
well,
very
and he's
subtle.
got his sandals and his staff.
Yeah, it's not very subtle.
I mean, come on.
I guess I want to
writes
live
in
in a
Hebrew.
I want to live in a world where this guy is meaningless and he is not like some sort of magical religious figure, because at the end of the day I think that's maybe way less interesting. But
I think magical is a strong word.
spiritual.
He sort of is. I mean, no spoilers, but I think like in a meaning, in the way you're talking about, like he is sort of meaningless in an interesting way, which we'll talk about when we talk about it as a whole. Yeah.
I just was waiting. I kept waiting for like an actual like demon or beast to show up in this section, just to like make sure I understood the world and the fiction I was operating in. And when it didn't, I was like, okay, so I think I've been given the leeway to think about all of this in this section from like a purely
Realistic,
quote unquote
way.
realistic way.
Yes,
Yeah.
And so that is how
absolutely.
I will interpret the Pilgrim. Now, upon reading further sections, that may change, but at least the information presented here, it's sort of just like a force of good. He's the only outside force of good outside the Abbey we encounter, or outside of religion we encounter, is this Pilgrim. And even then, he tries to kill Brother Francis because he drops his food in the dirt. Which is,
He at least attacks him. He's like, what the heck is wrong with you?
he chases him. The only reason he stops chasing him is because he forgot to put his sandals back on and he burns his feet.
His feet are too hot.
Something that's interesting about him, though, this is on page 10. He is, like, being rude to Francis and, like, trying to kill him because he dropped his food. But as soon as Francis speaks to him, he says, "For that, I'll find you a rock to fit that gap before I go. God with you." So he only helps Francis after Francis speaks to him and, like, breaks his Lenten fast and his Lenten vigil. Because Francis isn't supposed to talk. That's part of, like, the Lenten vigil. You don't talk, you do your prayers, you only eat when they bring you food,
And you
confess
can
on
talk
Sunday.
if, like, somebody's about to murder you and you have to beg for your
Yes,
life.
there's,
And
like...
you say no.
yeah, there's rules. Like, you can sin in one way if it would prevent you from sinning in a worse way. And I think that's just an interesting little character trait.
And the
about
last thing he says to him is like, "I hope you find your voice." And then he walks away.
Yes.
I mean, I think him saying like, "Let me find you a rock for your shelter," is like, "Let me find you proof for your religion." And he presses
Because
marks
the
rock.
religion being the shelter.
He's literally building like an arch that you would like travel through to gain new knowledge. His arch of his life. It's not, it is not the most subtle. It's not the most subtle thing in the world. What's going on here? But it's still very good and very compelling.
Why doesn't he need a keystone for his arch? And then
literally, that's literally what it is. He's built a shelter,
and then Jesus has been like, "I'm the
Right.
keystone." Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's not like he because he needs to be protected from wolves. He learns. There's a moment that I was just like, okay, he can speak wolf, and sometimes at the abbey, he's like, "Hey boys, check this out," and then he goes out and he speaks wolf, and the wolves show up, and they're like, "Very good, very good."
Well, he spent 7 summers or springs in the desert listening to these wolves.
7.
Yeah,
like,
everyone
boy
else
summers
just
in
does
desert.
one.
Yeah, and I mean, he does 7. Francis on 7, which is another like significant religious
7.
number.
The 7 seraphim or whatever, right?
Sure,
Or is that from? That might be from Halo.
I don't actually know.
The 7
I just
days of the
know
week?
7 days of the week. And when they're like, Jesus, how many times should we forgive the people who hurt us? 7 times? He goes, 7. How about 70 times 7?
So that
like
means
eternally.
100. Well, no, 70 times 7 is.
Yes.
100.
Okay.
No,
Yes.
yeah.
Technically, but his point is
He's
you
just
should
an exact
always
man, that Jesus
forgive.
Christ.
Yes. Exactly. What is it? 100 and I don't know.
We're not a
200
math podcast.
Yeah,
here.
we don't. We read.
Yeah, I mean that's
Part one. I'm
one.
very
An
excited for you. I didn't know you
interesting
only read the first section, Mac. This
yeah.
is
Sorry
gonna
to
be
know. I
very
thought I
fun,
had told you
interesting
that,
discussion.
and then
I
was
do
going
not
through our
believe you did.
messages. No, I did not. I was going through our messages, and I was like, "Oh, no, I didn't. That's my bad."
I think it's for the best.
I think it's fun to have 2 people on who have read the book and to be leading my my white lily butt, just like Brother Francis underneath his habit, through the.
Big pale butt.
You know, I learned I knew what a frock was, but I learned that a habit was like the apostolic cloak that they wear, which is pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is this not speaking for 40 days thing a regular thing, or is this invention?
I don't actually know. I think
Sounds
it
like
might
an
be.
old timey monk thing.
It does sound like
Yeah.
an old... I know, I am aware of like a vow of silence. I didn't know if it had to do with...
temporary vows? There's like silent retreats and stuff.
You know, they should really call it... They should call it Bad Friday. I feel like it was a pretty bad
Because it was a
Friday.
bad day.
I don't think it was a good Friday.
Boy,
I think it
I'm
was-
having
You
Bad
gotta
day.
go on the Christian stand-up circuit with that.
What about an awful Friday?
Mac, people would love that.
Holy crap, it's Saturday. That's pretty good.
Oh boy, it's sad Saturday because I'm sad.
Sleepy Saturday.
Jesus is
Because he's still
gone.
dead.
Sleepy.
It's
Oh, you're
Saturday.
right. And on the 3rd day,
He rose again.
he rose.
In
again.
accordance with the scriptures.
You know, he sort of does exit a cave reborn. This Brother Francis
yeah.
fellow. He enters a cave covered by a rock.
Oh,
he
yeah.
is reborn. Or the knowledge
Yeah.
of Leibowitz is brought forth from a rock.
Yep.
You know,
And
Maybe
something-
the information they find in
Right.
the
in the cave.
the Fallout shelter leads to the rebirth of
Yeah.
humanity and civilization.
Yeah.
could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be.
Something else that's cool and interesting, that brother, I forget his name, but he's working on this carving of the blessed
Oh yeah.
Oh, this part was
Leibowitz,
scary.
And it is
He's the Minnesotan guy.
yeah. And Francis recognizes it and he's like, that looks so familiar, and he's like, it can't be, and he
faints.
He faints, yes. He thinks that it looks like the pilgrim that he encountered.
I'm not sure he says that.
Well, he goes,
It's-
it can't be.
Right, he says it can't be, and then he faints.
Well,
then
and he
Well,
says,
it's
like,
supposed to be
it-
a carving of. It's a carving of Leibowitz with like a little smirk, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
wry
he know
smile.
they know, or the guy carving it knows, like the abbot will never put this anywhere. This will be in some storage room somewhere.
Right.
But
and it
I
makes
like it
people
because
from
he's
New
funny.
Rome shocked. They are shocked by it.
Because
and he has
saints aren't
move
supposed to
it.
be smiling.
Yes.
Is that true?
Well, all the
I
saints
think they're
statues
extra
in the,
serious.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
because when they do the like carving of Saint Leibowitz in New Rome, he's not smiling.
Well,
as none of the other saints are smiling there either.
I meant in real life.
Oh.
I think part of it is like the different abbots or different popes have different leeway with how serious things are. Like I think you can still be within like Catholic doctrine, and there's like a certain leeway for like how fun you can be.
Sure.
I know the Catholic church I went to was very not fun, and then I went to other churches and they had like fun songs.
Right.
And it's still like Catholic, but like the priest at our church was very, I think anything I think he literally did not want any fun new songs because they were too fun, and that's not Catholic.
It's not
Did you go to
traditional.
one of these churches where they did the whole thing in Latin?
No, but it used to be one of those. Yeah.
Wow. Well, if you like Latin, then you
there's a lot of passages of Latin in this.
Oh my gosh! Google Translate is open the whole time.
Yeah, it's also funny sometimes they're like
any of it up.
glorious Deu blah 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 Leibowitz blah blah blah. I'm like, oh hey, I got that one. I know Leibowitz. I know that one.
Now,
yeah.
We might cut this, but Leibowitz is supposed to be Jewish, right?
They
canonized a Jewish man.
Yeah. I think that is.
I think that's also important because, I think the Wanderer is also coded as Jewish because he leaves the Hebrew marks and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
I think, absolutely.
And like wandering in the desert is a very Old Testament thing. That's what the Jewish people had to do forever. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
that'll be more relevant in future sections.
Well, I'm excited.
But I mean, to your point about like what are they doing and what the church is doing feels very like meaningless and it's not affecting any real change. Their ignorance also comes through in their canonization of a Jewish man.
Right. Yeah,
they don't Jewish electrical engineer from New Mexico.
Yeah. They're like, this is a saint.
They know the big ideas. They're not really dialed in on the minutia 400 years after the apocalypse.
Yeah, they don't really, they're not living in the present moment and addressing the current needs of the time. But who knows? Maybe they will.
Maybe they will. And if you want to address the current needs at the time, you can leave us a 5-star review on your podcast.
Those
platform.
are our needs.
Yes,
don't hoard your 5-star reviews in your memorabilia vault and endlessly copy them from one generation to the next. Please put them on iTunes.
Actually, it would be funny if you left a 5-star review on this podcast that was a copy from a 5-star review you left on another podcast, and that will be sort of our inside joke that it was for a Canticle for Leibowitz. Part 1. If you liked what you heard, you can follow us on social media, Hardcover Hooligans, and please send us an email, and we will read it. And if you have any questions, we will chat about it. Our email is hardcoverhooligans@gmail.com. I think that's all we have to say about the book, unless anybody has any final thoughts here. Part 1 of the book.
I can save it.
Let there be
time.
man. I can never remember.
Let there be light.
No. Let there be.
The first part is let there be man.
Fiat homo.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So go to church.
Oh, do you? Sarah, you will be joining us for the next 2 episodes.
Yay! Yeah. I'm so excited. Thank you guys. I'm so happy to be here.
Do you have anything to share or to plug? What are you up to?
What are you reading?
You're the first guest of the show.
No, and I have a very vibrant and interesting life, so I'm certain I could come up with something in the next couple seconds here.
Well, sure. Do you have an Instagram people can follow you on?
Oh yeah, I do have an Instagram. I think that the Instagram handle is Sarah_Jean_HH, and I'm excited to be back. Hopefully you're excited to hear me.
I think.
Even if they
won't be. I think people will listen. So. They're so used to the
woman's voice.
Yeah, they're so used to the masculine energy we exude from the show.
Yes.
They will be off-put by your dulcet tones.
Yeah. This episode was far too feminine.
Yes. Yes.
We have a lot of manosphere people following us. We're gonna lose a lot of listeners.
Well, maybe I can get them on my side because, as you remember, I'm a crazy alt-right.
Oh, that's right. You're a Nazi.
That's right. You're a Catholic. You're like
No,
a
I'm
Catholic
not.
trad
I'm
wife.
not.
That's why we had you on.
Yeah, you're my trad wife. Yes.
No.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and stay Christian.
That feels weird.
Avoid robbers and their arrows that might hit you between the eyes.
If you're worried about getting your car stolen on the street, maybe bring like a nicer, fancier car with you so that they steal that one.
Yes, wear an eye patch on your eye so they think there's evil spirits in your eye.
Sorry, before we end here, can I ask a question that I know is stupid and that I should know the answer to, but I'm actually asking?
Yeah.
Are they not allowed to carry weapons because they're like pacifists?
I don't even think they have weapons.
He has a knife, but it's for like fruit. But he doesn't bring the knife with him.
I think they're probably pacifists. I also think you have a better chance of surviving if you don't have a weapon because
you
if
just
you
got
have
like
a
the
weapon,
bowl you can like
attack you. Like people are more likely to take pity on you. I think. Or
Yeah.
at least, I wonder if that was their like information. Like, oh, if you're just a humble beggar traveling, people will leave you alone, or at least not kill you. They might rob you, but you'll still be
True,
alive.
they didn't kill him. And he's like, when he gets robbed, he's like blessing the robber for like not stealing everything.
Mm-hmm.
What an interesting fellow. Anyway, stay avoiding getting shot in the head by a professional wrestler and his weird friend, everybody.